6 main reasons why white males choose or prefer black females. Number 6 reason why white males choose or prefer black females is they're homosexual. They are gay and either down low in the closet or just questioning they're unsure and the black. Women just represent or just stands as their beard. Pretty much she is. Either for the ones who are questioning or for the ones who are in the closet, the black woman is their beard. She is the person that they're going to introduce to their family. For example, if there are families willing to accept this black female, then they're more than likely going to accept their same-sex partner who happens to be white. They've already desensitized their family to their alternative lifestyle by bringing in this black female. So when they date the same sex and they're their parents and probably are more likely what they believe that their family will be more accepting of that. For the ones who are questioning their sexuality now, they choose the black female because a lot of these men do have a racist mindset. They, for the most part, choose black females because they see black females as being below them. So keep that in mind as they go on. A lot of these white men who are questioning or who are queer or unsure of their sexuality, they choose a black female because they feel or they have this idea that black female are more masculine than other races of female. They feel like we have more testosterone than we have, and more mass than informed that we're tougher body, more masculine. So they choose as a way of kind of testing the waters. For them, sleeping with the black female is just one step closer to being with a man. The number 5 reason is that they are rebellious. The rebellious type would be, for example, and there are all types of rebellious types. But for example, the wigger will fall into this category, or to the other extreme, the type of guy who comes from a very racist white family or who's against racism altogether, and he's rebelling against the status quo or this perception of white supremacy. The black female represents his ideas or his beliefs that he's against racism. So if he's dating a black female, it's obvious that he's not a racist, right? So this is that type of man, or the wigger. He has the black persona, he has the clothes down, language down, the hip-hop, the attitude, and all the rest of it. And dating a black female is his way of completing the whole facade. So he's rebelling even against the black male by showing he's hard. He has a black female on his arm, and that's a way for these white wigger Negroes to prove that, young black women, she's pretty much just his big black dick. For some men, having a gun is an extension of his little dick, and for these white men, having a black female is an extension of his little dick. So he has a black female as a way of rebelling against black men or competing. And those are just examples. The number 4 reason is he's looking for a nurturer. He's trying to find himself. He wants a woman who's not going to judge him, who's going to accept him for who he is, who's going to listen to him and hear his emotional sob stories and all of that other stuff, and See, that's the type of woman that they tend to think that black women are more nurturing and more open and accepting. This kind of guy wants unconditional love. He wants to be nurtured and cared for. You know, the type. I don't have to get into it any more than that. Falling into this category, as well as a spiritual type of guy who feels like he has broken down all of the barriers. We are one, we are all one race, and that's the human race type of guy. And 2. The black woman represents the idea that he has broken down all barriers, including racial barriers, so she stands to represent his ideals and ideologies. Number 3. Reason why white men choose to prefer black women is they want to be dominated. But they also want to dominate, and falling into this category would be your military law enforcement type of guy, or the type of man who is in a more high-ranking position who's not able to let loose all of the time. Because he has to hold a certain image, so behind closed doors now he likes to be dominated. For the soldier boys and the police officers, they're only seeking orders and they like to be ordered around. They don't really know how to think for themselves, but they want to think for themselves, but they don't really know how. And with a black female who they also look at as being a more dominant, domineering type of female, they can be dominated by her, but at the same time they can push back, whereas with their tenant or staff sergeant or whatever the rank is, right? They can't really push you out. They have to take order to do what you're told, and that's it. But when they're with the black female, and that's why you'll see a lot of these military types of black females, it's not because there is more black females in the military. There are white females available. There are white females in the military and white females all over the neighborhood, but they choose black females because they feel like she's more dominant. And these military types also fall into the rebellious category as well because they're also rebelling against black men. The women also represents their big fucking dick. They like the argument. They like to be able to argue back and forth. A lot of white people, especially the ones who are born into this WASP-type family, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant-type family, they're not really used to expressing their emotional side. And so they feel like when they were the black women, they get the opportunity to express themselves, to push back, to fight, to argue, to express their emotions. And that's why they choose that black female to like the back and forth. And then of course they can have some hot kinky sex at the end of the day, and the which includes domination, being dominated and dominating their black female. Which brings me to reason number 2. And this type of man is a type who likes the kinky, freaky experimental type of sex and the type of guy who wants to experiment. Like who hasn't really dated a black woman before, but he wants to experiment with black sex because he's heard it's kinky. He already saw it in a movie or something. He's heard the rumors of love about black women, and he wants to know if they're true, so he'll experiment. More than often, the men in this category are the types who like that freaky kind of experimental type of sex he likes to be. Pistons dumped on beaten. This is the guy who likes the BDSM. He likes to take charge of his female collar whore, but also like to be dominated, like he likes to eat shit and like ass, and he's a fucking freak. So he chooses a black female, and a lot of people will date outside their race for that reason. Just like, you know how black men say black men don't eat pussy. So they kind of have to uphold that lie. And for the white men, now they have to treat their own women like they're milky white, creamy white females with delicacy. You know, they treat them delicately because the white female reminds them of their mothers. Look, this is some psychological warfare, but it's true for the most part. Like I said, these men fall into several different categories, and they're also into the rape fantasy, and a lot of people in general are interested in the great fantasy. A lot of white men get turned on by that the master-slave type deal. But the number one reason why white males date black females is because of low self-esteem. These white men are either ugly, broke, poor, fat, old, or in some way or another they feel like they don't have what it takes to date a white woman. Of course, black female are seen as being on the lowest rung of the ladder, and white females are judged as being high up on top, and this is in their mind now. And so if they think that it doesn't matter from ugly. As ugly as I am, a black female would still be willing to have me. And that's why you see a lot of beautiful black women dating just the ugliest white men, and you wonder what the fucking based on their perception of white supremacy. Now the black female views the white man as being up on top, and he takes advantage of that. Of course, this is the type of white guy who benefits from that white privilege. So he gets to have his pick of black females, but they can't get anybody else. They can get a beautiful black woman with low self-esteem, and that's that. Those are the 6 reasons why white men prefer black women.